Hey, what's up, guys? Rideshare guy here, and today I'm going to talk about UberPool and specifically how UberPool pricing works for drivers. So basically, I want to help you guys figure out how much you're getting paid on UberPool because, as we all know, when Uber tells us one thing, it's not always, how do I put this, the most believable, right? When they say when we cut rates, you're going to make more, or when they say, things like you guys are making way more on UberPool. I think it's good to have a healthy skepticism, and today I'm going to delve into that topic and help you guys figure out just how much you are making on those UberPool rides. So for those who don't know, since UberPool isn't in every single market yet, I know that it's being tested in Los Angeles and San Francisco right now and a couple other markets. For example, UberPool is basically UberX, but a carpooling version. So it matches two passengers, so two separate passengers. So passengers can actually go in groups of one or two, but not three, and it will match no more than two separate groups of passengers headed in the same general direction. So obviously they need to be picked up somewhat close to each other, whether it's right next to each other or within a few blocks. Oftentimes you'll be driving as a driver on UberPool with one passenger, and if you get a match, maybe you'll be 5 minutes along the route and you'll get a match that'll be hopefully just one or two blocks over. You go pick them up and then take the passengers on the way. The app will actually tell you who to pick up, where to pick them up, where to get the second passenger, where to drop off the first passenger, and where to drop off the second passenger. So it's really navigation intensive because you have to be following navigation at all times, and it's different than a ride where you say, hey, the passenger says, hey, I'll tell you how to get there, right? There won't be any of that on UberPool. And in fact, passengers have to enter a destination on UberPool. So that's a little bit about how it works. Now, you guys are probably all wondering how you get paid, right? Now, Uber actually has put out a few statements and a few articles and some of their press releases saying that Uber drivers are making a ton more on these UberPool rides, but I'm here to tell you that unfortunately, that's not really the case. So right now, Uber is actually doing promotional pricing with UberPool. I know in San Francisco they had $5 rides for a while, and then they increased it to $7. In LA, I think it's still at $5 UberPool rides. So they're actually subsidized for the passenger. So if the passenger is paying, let's say they're paying $5 right now in Los Angeles, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get $5. Now this actually benefits drivers big time right now because even when it's surging, you'll actually still get the higher fare. Now, so let's say it's surging 2.0, Uber passenger can still opt for UberPool and only pay $5, but Uber will go and compensate you for the 2x surge. So basically, it's like Uber is subsidizing not only the UberPool ride, but also the surge aspect of it too. So I know that a lot of drivers have been pretty happy with UberPool so far because in those types of instances, they're actually making a lot more. So I actually did some research in San Francisco. I went out, I talked to a ton of drivers that were doing UberPool, and I was taking UberPool a ton, and that's how I got to talk to them. And the one reoccurring theme, they all had no idea how much they were getting paid, right? And when I say that, they knew that what the pay was showing up, but they didn't know if it was more, they didn't know if it was less than it would have been for a regular UberX ride. And so remember, since there's that promotional pricing, the passengers are going to pay a different amount than you end up getting paid. And so here's how it actually works. It's actually UberPool is the same rates as UberX, but you'll get paid from your first pickup to your last drop-off UberX rates. So it really doesn't matter whether you have one or two groups in the car on UberPool. You're actually getting paid UberX rates from your first pickup to your last drop-off. So UberPool, I think Uber has come out and made it seem really like a great thing for riders, which I think it is very good for riders, but for drivers, I'm not convinced. I mean, you're doing more work because now you have to pick up two passengers and drop off two passengers. And as you guys will see in a future review, there are definitely some big challenges. Not big, but there's some challenges associated with that. So basically, on a normal ride, let's say you have your first pickup and a drop off, right? You would get paid for that. Now, essentially, all you're getting paid for is going out of the way to get that second passenger and then back onto the route. So that's very minimal, maybe 5% or less of your time of the total trip. And then when you go to drop off, let's say you're going to drop off that first passenger, you're only getting paid for after that first drop off to your second drop off. So that's really the extra amount. So I guess in my estimation, I would say you're getting 10% more than a normal ride. Now, on the passenger side, they're actually saving close to 50%. So for passengers, it's a great savings. And I really would have liked to see Uber do something like where they only give the passengers a 40% discount instead of 50%. And then maybe the drivers can make closer to 120% of an UberX ride, or even closer to 1.5x of a normal UberX ride. But unfortunately, that's not what they did. So if you guys are confused, I'll try to explain it one last time. But basically, you're paid, or you will be paid, normal UberX rides from your first pickup until your last drop off. So all that stuff that you're doing in between is basically paid at normal UberX rates. Now, hopefully I did a good job explaining it. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment, and hopefully I won't have to re-record this video. All right, take care.